Today, we're going to dive into a single, pretty revolutionary insight from a text that's about 2,500 years old. It shows us this repeating pattern that runs through, well, everything. Not just the world out there, but every single moment of our own experience. And trust me, once you see it, you really can't unsee it. Okay, let's get into it. But first, let me just ask you this. What if the entire spectrum of your life, every joy, every bit of sadness, every random thought that pops into your head, what if all of it was running on one simple universal principle? A principle that, if you really truly got it, would change everything. So this single truth, it comes to us from these ancient Pali texts, specifically from a collection called the Saṃyutta Nikaya. And the cool thing is, it's not presented as some belief you just have to accept. Nope. It's laid out as an observable fact about how reality works, just waiting for us to see it for ourselves. Now, the heart of this whole insight is packed into one Pali phrase, aniccham viparinami anyathabhavi. This means so much more than just impermanent. It's actually describing this dynamic three-part process. First, things are temporary. Second, they are actively altering. Their very nature is shifting. And third, they are constantly becoming something else. So you see, nothing is static. Everything is a verb, always in motion. And what's brilliant is that the teaching doesn't start with some huge cosmic theory. It starts with something you're using this very second, your own eye. It just states, very plainly, that the very thing you see with is itself caught in this undeniable, constant process of change. But the eye? Oh, that's just the first domino. From here, the text starts to reveal how this one single pattern just unfolds across our entire field of experience, from one moment to the next. So this law of constant change is just methodically applied to all 6 of our senses. It's not just the eye, but also the ear that hears, the nose that smells, the tongue that tastes, the body that feels, and yep, even the mind that thinks. Every single one is described as impermanent, altering, and becoming otherwise. And it makes perfect sense, right? If our sense organs are always in flux, then what about everything they perceive? Well, the text confirms it. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, physical feelings, and even the very thoughts and ideas that show up in our minds. They're all part of this same unending flow. Okay, now this is where it gets really profound, because the text doesn't just stop with the senses and the things they sense. It actually traces the entire chain reaction of consciousness itself, showing how every single link in that chain is made of the same unstable, changing stuff. Just look at this progression. It starts with that initial spark of consciousness when, say, your eye sees an object. Then there's the contact. From that comes a feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or just neutral. Then perception kicks in and puts a label on it. And even our intentions and that powerful magnetic pull of craving, all of it, without a single exception, is described in exactly the same way: impermanent, altering, and becoming otherwise. So if our entire conscious experience is just this flowing, moment-to-moment process, what's left? What about the world that feels so solid under our feet? Or that persistent feeling of a stable me right at the center of it all? Well, the text pushes the analysis right down to the most fundamental level imaginable. Even the classical elements, the properties of solidity, of wetness, of heat, and of movement that make up our physical world, even they aren't exempt. They too are in constant flux. And this all leads to the ultimate conclusion. These 5 groups of experience that we tend to bundle together and mistake for a solid, unchanging self, our physical body, our feelings, our perceptions, our mental habits, and our consciousness, each one is revealed to be nothing but a fleeting process. In this whole analysis, there's just no fixed, permanent self to be found anywhere. Okay, so everything changes. The big question is, so what? Why is seeing this considered so incredibly life-altering? Well, it's because this insight isn't just some cool philosophical idea. It has profound, practical consequences for our life, our well-being, and our ultimate destiny. And the text draws this really stark contrast. The person who doesn't see this reality stays vulnerable, trapped in this cycle of anxiety, always grabbing for things that are bound to change. But the one who starts to see it directly, the noble person, they fundamentally change their relationship to the world. They found the on-ramp to a path of genuine freedom. And what's really helpful is that the text actually lays out a clearer progression. For some, it starts with faith, just trusting that this teaching is pointing to something real. For others, it deepens through reflection, thinking about it, investigating it intellectually. But the huge, irreversible turning point is becoming a stream enterer. That's someone who moves beyond just believing it and actually experiences this truth directly for themselves. For the person who makes that leap, who goes from just intellectual agreement to direct personal insight, well, the text offers an absolutely incredible and unwavering promise. And this, right here, is the key takeaway. Seeing this truth makes a person a sotapanno, a stream enterer, someone who has stepped into the stream that flows unstoppably toward liberation. They are niyato, which means their destiny is now certain, it's fixed. They are sambuddhiparayano, destined for full awakening, and they're secured from falling back. It is literally the point of no return on the path to freedom. And so this ancient analysis leaves us with a really profound question to carry around with us. It systematically shows that our entire reality, inside and out, is just this constantly shifting process. So if nothing we can see or feel or think of is truly solid or permanent, where then can real, lasting security ever be found?